In the bustling heart of Lagos, tragedy struck amidst a scene of everyday survival. It was a day like any other, with the sun beating down on the city and the ever-present hum of activity filling the air. But in the midst of this ordinary backdrop, a young man named Tohib Eniafe became the tragic protagonist in a story that has left the city in shock. Eniafe, like many others, was standing in line at a petrol station, waiting his turn to buy fuel. The queue snaked its way around the station, a testament to the ongoing fuel scarcity that has gripped Nigeria. But as the line grew longer, tension began to build. Two men, believed to be military officers, attempted to bypass the queue. Their blatant disregard for the unwritten rules of the queue sparked outrage among those waiting. Among the chorus of protest, Eniafe stepped forward, confronting the two men. The confrontation escalated quickly, transforming from a war of words to a physical altercation. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the situation spiraled out of control. And then, the unthinkable happened. Amid the chaos, a gunshot rang out, its echo reverberating through the station. The crowd dispersed in a wave of panic, leaving Eniafe alone on the ground. The young man who minutes before had stood up for fairness and order, now lay lifeless, a tragic victim of the very chaos he had sought to prevent. As the echo of the gunshot faded, the harsh reality of the incident sent shockwaves through the crowd. The tragic event served as a stark reminder of the tensions and challenges that have become a part of everyday life in the face of Nigeria's fuel scarcity. In the aftermath of the shooting, a cloud of fear descended upon Lagos. The air, once filled with the bustling sounds of everyday life, now echoes with an uneasy silence. The petrol station, a common sight of clamor and chaos, has become a chilling reminder of a life abruptly ended. Residents in the area, who once stood shoulder to shoulder in fuel queues, now stand apart, their eyes filled with fear and apprehension. The sight of the queue has transformed from a symbol of the city's resilience amid scarcity into a haunting image of the city's vulnerability. The incident has left a deep scar on the community as they grapple with the harsh reality of their fellow citizens' demise. Adding to the unease are the conflicting reports swirling around the identity of the shooters. Whispers of military officers involved in the incident have further stoked the fires of fear among the populace. The uncertainty is tangible as the common man wonders who the next victim might be. Could it be someone waiting for a bus, buying groceries, or like Tohib Eniafe, merely standing in a fuel queue? Amidst the turmoil, the police have stepped in, confirming the untimely death of Eniafe. Their solemn pledge to conduct thorough investigations has offered a glimmer of hope, a promise of justice in a time of despair. Yet the road to truth seems long and winding, filled with doubts and fears. The question on everyone's lips is, will justice be served? The city of Lagos now finds itself in a state of suspended animation, caught between the promise of justice and the fear of the unknown. The bustling city, known for its vibrant energy and relentless spirit, seems to have paused, casting a long shadow over its future. Amidst the confusion and fear, Lagosians wait with bated breath for justice for Tohib Eniafe. As the city mourns its loss, it also yearns for answers. In the silence of the aftermath, the echo of a single gunshot continues to reverberate, a grim reminder of a life lost and a city's quest for justice. The official narrative takes a turn as denial enters the fray. The Department of State Services, the agency that some have suspected to be involved in the shooting incident, has outrightly denied any part in the tragic event. This denial, however, hasn't done much to quell the unease and uncertainty that have engulfed the public since the incident. The department's denial of involvement has been met with skepticism by the public, creating an atmosphere of distrust and suspicion. While it's not uncommon for government agencies to deny involvement in controversial incidents, the circumstances surrounding this particular case make the denial much harder to swallow for the public. The existence of two armed men believed to be military officers at the scene of the incident raises more questions than it answers. The denial by the Department of State Services seems to have deepened the chasm of trust between the public and the government. It has left many wondering if the truth will ever come to light. The public's demand for transparency and justice in the case of Tohib Eniafe is growing louder by the day. The question on everyone's mind is, if the Department of State Services didn't have a hand in this incident, then who did? It's clear that the denial of involvement by the Department of State Services has only added to the confusion and uncertainty surrounding the incident. This denial, instead of calming the public's fears, has only served to stoke the flames of suspicion and distrust. As the Department of State Services wash their hands off the incident, the question remains: who is responsible for Toheeb's death? Behind the tragic incident lurks the shadow of Nigeria's fuel scarcity, a crisis that has been casting a long, ominous shadow over the daily lives of Nigeria's residents. Fuel, a cornerstone of modern life, powers our homes, our vehicles, our businesses. Yet in Nigeria it has become a scarce commodity, a source of tension, a spark that can ignite a deadly confrontation. The scarcity has led to long queues at petrol stations, with people waiting for hours, even days, to fill up their tanks. Time is money, and every hour spent in these queues is an hour not spent working, studying, or being with family. The impact on the economy and the strain on personal lives is immense, and it is leaving its mark on the nation's psyche. Imagine the frustration building, the tempers flaring, the desperation of trying to get to work, to school, to the hospital. The anxiety of not knowing when you'll next be able to refuel. It's a pressure cooker situation, and all it takes is a single spark to set off an explosion. That's what happened at the petrol station in Lagos. A confrontation over queue jumping, a fight, a gunshot, a young life, Toheeb Eniafe, tragically lost in the melee. This is the human cost of the fuel crisis. This is the face of a nation struggling with resource scarcity. The fuel crisis is not just about long queues or high prices, it's about the stress it places on society. It's about the tensions it exacerbates. It's about the tragedies it can lead to. As the fuel crisis persists, so does the tension, the frustration, and the risk of more tragedies. In the face of tragedy and crisis, the spirit of Lagos remains unbroken. Indeed, the recent events have struck a blow to Lagos, but the residents stand tall, resilient in the face of adversity. The loss of Toheeb Eniafe is a grim reminder of the struggles they face daily, a testament to their courage and resolve. Yet hope lingers in the air, hope for justice, hope for a solution to the fuel crisis that has gripped their city, their lives. This incident, tragic as it is, has become a symbol of a larger issue, echoing across Lagos, across Nigeria. It's a wake-up call to the challenges that need to be addressed, the changes that need to be made. It's a stark reminder that the status quo cannot continue, that the price of survival should never be life itself. The people of Lagos, of Nigeria, are looking forward. They're looking forward to a time where queues for fuel do not lead to altercations, where the fundamental right to life is not compromised. They're looking forward to a time where their city, their country, can move beyond these struggles, towards growth, towards progress. Yes, the road ahead is long, the journey arduous. But Lagos, like its people, is resilient. It's a city that's seen its fair share of trials, yet it endures, it thrives. And in this resilience lies the hope for a brighter future. A future where incidents like the one that claimed the life of Toheeb Eniafe are a thing of the past. In the face of crisis, Lagos looks to the future with determination, with resolve. It looks to a future where justice prevails, where the fuel crisis is but a distant memory, where survival does not come at the cost of life itself. In the end, Lagos waits, not just for justice for Toheeb Eniafe, but for a better dawn where survival does not come at the cost of life itself.